Today we're going to talk about the Abrahamic religions. So there's three Abrahamic religions, and they're actually the three largest religions in the world right now. So we have Judaism, and then Christianity, and then Islam. And so those are the three that we're going to discuss today. Okay, so brief history. So Judaism, the Hebrew leader Abraham founded Judaism. That's why they're all called Abrahamic. They're all actually derived from Judaism or from Abraham. So around 2000 BC is when it was founded. Judaism is the oldest of the monotheistic faiths, so that means they all believe in one God. So all three of these are monotheistic. And then Christianity, this was founded by Jesus Christ. He was crucified around AD 30 in Jerusalem, and after his death was when his followers came to believe him as the Christ or the Messiah, the Son of God, is what Christians believe. And then Islam was founded in Saudi Arabia, by Muhammad between 610 and 632. Okay? So, getting down into the chart here, so the followers of Judaism are known as Jews, Christianity are known as Christians, and then followers of Islam are known as Muslims. The clergy in Judaism are known as rabbis. In Christianity, there's many different types of clergy. So you have bishops, pastors, priests, ministers. There's like popes, monks, nuns, and there's all kinds of different types of clergy. And then in Islam, they're primarily known as imams. And then the houses of worship. So in Judaism, this would be a synagogue or a temple. This is a synagogue right here. In Christianity, you have a church, a cathedral, a chapel. This would be probably considered a chapel here. And then in Islam, you have the mosque, and that's what this is here. Days of worship. So Judaism, their holy day is Saturday. Christianity, it's Sunday. And then Islam, it's on Friday. The original language, so this is important, especially when we talk about Islam, but Judaism, the original language is Hebrew, which is still spoken in Israel. Christianity, it's Aramaic and Greek. And then in Islam, it's Arabic. And that's important because the Quran is only written in Arabic. The name of God, Judaism, they call him Yahweh. Christianity, he's God or the Trinity. So Christians often believe in the three as one. The Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost are all God. And then Islam, they call him Allah, it's Arabic for God. So it's all the same God. Okay, they're just different names for the same God. And that has to do with the different languages. Major sects of Judaism. So there's Orthodox Judaism, there's Reform Judaism, and there's Conservative Judaism. Christianity, we've talked a little bit about this when we talked about Europe, but there's Catholicism, Roman Catholicism, then you have Orthodox, then you have Protestantism, and then non-denominational. So basically non-denominational is one that doesn't fit in those other three categories. And then in Islam, the major sects are Sunni and Shia. Major locations today. So Judaism is primarily practiced in Europe, Israel especially. It's the only Jewish state in the world, and North America. Christianity is all over the world. Europe, North and South America, Africa, Australia, Asia. It's found all over the world. Islam is primarily practiced in Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. And then adherents today, so this is approximate. Judaism is about 14 million people, which makes it the 14th largest religion. And then Christianity has about 2 billion. Okay, so it's the largest religion. And then Islam is in second place with about 1.3 billion. Okay, sacred texts. So Judaism has the Torah and the Hebrew Bible. So the Hebrew Bible is what makes up the Christian Old Testament, which is the first part of the Christian Bible, and then the New Testament starts with Jesus, the founding of Christianity, with Jesus' life, and then through the early followers of Christianity. And then Islam is the Quran. So Muhammad wrote down all the ideas in the Quran. Okay, and so you can see these. This is the Christian Bible. This is the Quran here, and then this is the Hebrew Bible. So how do we know about God? So Judaism believes that we know about God through the prophets. That's recorded in the Hebrew Bible. Christians believe that it's through the prophets and Jesus, as recorded in the Old and New Testament. And then in Islam, they believe it's through God's final prophet, Muhammad, who recorded everything in the Quran. So that's why those books are so holy. Salvation. So this is basically, how do you get to heaven? Okay, so in Judaism, they believe you have to have belief in one God and you have to do good deeds. Now, Christians, it kind of depends on what type of Christian you are. So for the most part, you have to have correct belief. In some of them, like Catholicism, they believe you have to do good deeds. And you have to have faith and accept Christ as your Savior. That one is primarily Lutherans, but that started with the Protestant Reformation, that you could get in by faith alone. In Islam, you have belief in one God, you have to do good deeds, and you also have to follow the 5 pillars of faith. Okay, so afterlife, good afterlife. So in Judaism, there is an eternal heaven or no afterlife. It depends which sect of Judaism you belong to. Christians believe in an eternal heaven, and then Muslims believe in eternal paradise, which is similar to heaven. Bad afterlife. In Judaism, there's an eternal hell or there's no afterlife. In Christianity and Islam, they both believe in eternal hell. The symbols for Judaism, so this is called the Star of David. This is obviously a cross, and then the crescent moon and star is the symbol for Islam. Holidays. So these are just major holidays. This is not all of the holidays, but for Judaism, the big ones, Passover, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. For Christians, you have Christmas, Easter, Good Friday. Obviously, Easter and Good Friday are very close to each other. They're both, Good Friday is obviously when Jesus was killed, and then Easter is when he resurrected. And then Islam, Ramadan, so that's the month where they have to fast. And then you have Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Where do the rules? So there's, in Judaism, obviously the 10 Commandments. Christians use the 10 Commandments as well. So those were rules that God sent to Moses for us to use, or for Christians and Jews to follow. And then in Christianity, they also have the 7 sacraments. Now, not all of the sects of Christianity follow the 7 sacraments, but all of them follow at least a few of them. The Catholics follow all 7. In Islam, the major rules are the 5 pillars, so you have to follow those 5 pillars. Okay, holy places. So in Judaism, the Temple Mount, which is in Jerusalem, that's where the Dome of the Rock is right now. But they also have the Tomb of the Patriarchs, which is right here. This is what this is. And then Rachel's tomb, which is in Bethlehem. So just outside of this is the Wailing Wall, and that's the most holy place where Muslims are allowed to pray. They're not allowed to pray. Jews. If you go into this area as a Jew, that's okay. You just are not allowed to pray or participate in any kind of religious practice. For Christianity, Vatican City is the center of Roman Catholicism. That's where the Pope is centered, and it's a very holy place. Calvary, Golgotha, that's where Jesus was crucified, and then the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, that's in Jerusalem. In Islam, so there's a few, so the Grand Mosque and the Kaaba is probably the most holy place. So the Kaaba is this black stone. Well, it's like a building over a black stone. And this is where there's a meteorite in there that's supposed to have come from heaven, and every Muslim is supposed to go here at least once in their lifetime. So that starts off what's called the Hajj. Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, those are both in Jerusalem. So that's this and that. That's the Dome of the Rock, and this is considered the 3rd most holy place in Islam. So that would be the 2nd. So Jerusalem is obviously very fought over and continues to be fought over because all the different religions want it. Now, there's 2 religions that get along very well that are willing to share it, and then there's a third that is not as willing to bend on it. So Jerusalem. So why did they want it? So in Judaism, the Jews built it. So the Jews built the city. This is where their religion started. This is where Abraham nearly sacrificed Isaac, or if you ask the Muslims, Ishmael. Um, in Christianity, this is where Jesus preached. It's where he was crucified, buried, and resurrected. And in Islam, Muhammad, the religion of Islam started in Saudi Arabia, but Muhammad was flown to Jerusalem on a mythical beast, and this is where he actually talked with God, and that's where the Dome of the Rock is, and it's where he negotiated with God. So God originally, I guess, wanted to have Muslims pray like 50 times a day, and Muhammad tucked him down to 5 times a day, things like that. So there was a conversation about rules and things that he wanted Muslims to follow, and then that's where Muhammad ascended into heaven. So view of the other religions. So in Judaism, they view Islam and Christianity as false interpretations and extensions of Judaism. Christians believe that Judaism is a true religion, but with an incomplete revelation, and Christians believe that obviously that Jesus is the Son of God, where Jews do not recognize that. They believe he was a great prophet, and so do Muslims. Islam is a false religion, though, according to Christians, because they don't believe that Muhammad was any kind of prophet, and neither do Jews. Muslims believe that Jews and Christians are respected as fellow believers, but they have wrong beliefs and only partial revelation because they don't follow the Quran. They follow, obviously, the Bible or the Hebrew Bible. The diaspora. So a diaspora is a scattering of the Jews. So over the centuries, Jews would be conquered and forced to leave their homeland many times. Okay, and then when I'm talking homeland, I'm talking where Israel is today. So eventually, they're going to spread around to countries in all kinds of different parts of the world. So in different parts of the Middle East, but mostly into Europe and then even into the United States. And in many of these areas, the Jews were treated very cruelly. The biggest example being the Holocaust during World War II, where Hitler nearly wiped out Jews, European Jews, and he killed about 6 million Jews during that. So they've been treated terribly, and so after World War II, it was decided that they would be given back their Holy Land, and that's been kind of the big contention between the Muslims who had been living there and the Jews and Christians who supported the state of Israel. So this right here shows the diaspora and kind of how that happened. So this right here it was called Palestine at the time. It's called Israel now. But there's Jerusalem. But you can see how Jews just kind of spread out, okay? So they spread out to different parts of Asia, the Middle East, and Europe, even Northern Africa. But most of them went into Europe, okay? And then many of them wanted to come back. And even when Israel was founded in 1948, there were many Jews already living there. All right, that's all I got for you today. Don't forget to do your processor, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.